Hey, is my red light on? No. And because I got tired of wearing out my GoPro batteries, I bought 3 new batteries and a triple charger. Is that cool? You ready to work tomorrow?
Yeah.
Get back to doing it? Alright, so it's Friday evening. I'm home from work early, and the last time we used our beloved little mini camper was on that trip up to Cactus Flats where we rode and everything. And then when I got home, I checked the wheel bearings and they were loose again. First thing I'm going to start with in the morning is the loose wheel bearings. A friend of mine told me that on new trailers, even after you adjust the bearings, after a trip or two, sometimes they seat in more, I guess. And I'm hoping that's the case. I just need to readjust them and then we're good to go, because I'm getting tired of dealing with the worry of the wheel bearings. If this final adjustment doesn't work, I'm going to rip the axle out of here, throw away the Harbor Freight axle, and then I'm going to just get a 1-inch 2,000-pound Dexter axle with 5 lug hubs and the right bearings and all that stuff, and just be done with it. So Friday night we're just cleaning up, getting ready for tomorrow, so we'll be back at the trailer. But I've had a lot of fun. The last 3 videos, getting the bike dialed, taking it on a killer 2-day ride. Plan to do a little bit more of that. I think the next time my brother and my nephew are going to come here, and we're going to do another one of those weekend rides up to Big Bear, and then maybe the next time after that we'll go out to Robert's house in Havasu and we'll do a ride there. So we'll record all that stuff as I continue to get this thing dialed in. So for now, this is on hold. Tomorrow morning, back at the trailer. She's just sitting here waiting for us. Alright, maybe I'll give you guys a walk around in the morning and go from there. Anyway, well, good morning everybody. Yes, we are going to get back at working on the camper finally after a long hot summer off. First things first, this ATC for some reason is not running that well after I put it in storage. I tried everything. I pulled the carb apart, I cleaned the carb, I drained the gas, I did everything. Still not trying, it's still doing something weird. So I was going to replace the base gasket on the float bowl because that was leaking. And as I was ordering the base gasket for the float bowl, I guess it's float bowl gasket, bottom of the carburetor, in the same feed, and where I was about to order that gasket was a brand new carburetor for $22. Comes with the base gasket and everything, and it'll be here quicker. So I just ordered the carburetor. So this is, 1982 carburetor. The slides probably wore out, everything's probably wore out in there, and I'm going to put the new carburetor on, see if I can get that thing going. Everything else is prepped because we are going to try to camp next weekend. Me and my boy, a small sand trip. So gonna get the ATC going today. A little frustrated with that, spent a lot of time on it. And then I'm gonna finish painting the camper today. I'm gonna try to weld on the fenders this weekend, finish the tongue deck with something on top of there, store the spare tire, and do the lights all in the next 2 days. So welcome back. It's been a long summer, had some fun with the dirt bike stuff. Here we go. So what we did was, this carburetor does not work for several reasons, and here's why. It's a bigger carburetor, the throttle body's bigger, everything's bigger. The jetting is different. I put it on there, the thing idled to the moon, and I played with all the jets, I played with everything, I played with the idle, I played with the slide. I spent 2 hours trying to make this work, every combination you could think of. Swapping jets, everything. It just will not run right with this carburetor. Although it looks like the right one, all the measurements, bolts up, everything bolts up. Would not run right. So what I did was I stole the floats, I stole the new gaskets here and here. I put it on the stalker, and it runs better than it's ever run before. I think the floats, the old floats right here, there's a little bit of something in there. So I think they were stuck and they were flooding the carburetor. And I think the old gasket on the bottom, the float bowl gasket, was also leaking, which we had that. So the floats were stuck, forcing all kinds of fuel in it. This thing was leaking, and it just contributed, you know, 2 or 3 negatives, made a big problem. So now the thing fires right up, runs great with the old carb, but all the new parts ripped off the new carb. And all the parts I stole, the float, the gaskets and everything, cost me 22 bucks, because this is 22 bucks. If I would have bought the floats and the gaskets separate, it would have been more. So I know we just went through this last year, right, getting this thing fired up. But I think sitting in storage for the last 3 months, it just took its toll on the gaskets and the floats. There you go. Got a nice little paperweight.
That was awesome.
So with the new floats and all the new gaskets and everything in here, this thing runs like it is brand new.
Yeah.
Like, it has way more power, it idles cleaner, it used to cough a little bit, so the whole Frankenstein experiment with the old carb and new carb really worked. I'm stoked because I was kind of getting discouraged there. And I put the new bars on, better ergos, took you for a ride a minute ago, fixed the speedometer, it used to be way over here, put it there. So my little resto project looks pretty good. Does it rev, buddy? Yeah. All right, back working on the camper, and we got this side. One roll of smooth. Remember, I used the old Herculiner on the other side, and it just took forever, and that was 2 coats. This is 1 coat, and it already looks darker, so we're gonna do 1 more coat here. But on our way, this is gonna be paint. Then we gotta do weld on the fenders. Then we gotta stuff the spare tire underneath. Then we're gonna build a deck on the tongue there, and then we're gonna do the lights. And we'll be ready for next weekend.
Yeah.
Hopefully get all that done this weekend. Not gonna extend the frame, like I talked about forever, so many times, only because I think it's just going to take away from the coolness of this being a 4x8 camper. So not going to extend the frame. Yeah. Not going to need to put a quad up here like I had that picture before. Maybe I can pull it up right here. But
you can put it up
going to leave it the way it is.
You can put it up there instead.
You going to lift it up there for me?
Maybe.
When I dropped the bike off the trailer a couple videos ago, I hurt my back. It's still messed up. So maybe you'll be my new muscle. And I'll be the brain. What's up? All right, so we got this side done. Glossy. Waterproofed even more. Let's go look at. We are now covering the side that we have the 2 coats of the old Herculiner on. And you can see how nice and dark glossy black it is. I'm still going to do another coat on this after it dries in a few minutes here. Then I'll go back with a brush and I'll cut in all this with a brush. So we get the painting done tonight. Tomorrow, fenders. Been watching a lot of YouTube videos. See how it's going to go. I want the fenders to be heavy enough and beefy enough so I can put like the toolbox on top when we're working on the quads or whatever we're doing. And I want to put a shelf behind the fender, like set the helmet on, or even the toolbox over there, or, you know, a bottle of soda or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So, the dream continues. What I thought was going to take a few months last year has been over a year now. Because the last weekend in September, we started this in 2017. So, oh, I better not touch it. I might have paint on me. Maybe like a dune mural, huh? Right there? Dune mural, like a cool faded tattoo, black and white dune mural right there. So I got the measurements for this. We're gonna do diamond plate here. We're gonna do diamond plate there as a rock protector. Gonna clean up that look. All right, it's 5:20. It's Friday afternoon. Took the day off just to get this thing rolling. We're gonna finish the painting tonight and then get back at you guys in the morning. Domino's is about 8 minutes away. And we are going to put the sucker away and start back up in the morning. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm proud of my cool old sprocket clock I made from the KDX project. All right, Saturday morning. It's about 11:30, 9, and it is October 27th. I got to say, the second time around with this Duraback, the smooth, all the complaining I did in the last videos, this black smooth went on so easy. couple coats on each side to get it to completely hide the white. Way easier to do yesterday. It was so simple. Just the waiting time, drying in between coats was the only thing. And it's super shiny, super black. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know what that light source being out there, if you can see this, but so today we're going to turn to the fenders. I've never done this. I've watched a ton of YouTube videos, as I mentioned yesterday. Some guys actually self-tap them on first, right to the frame, and then come back and weld some angle iron out and support them that way. I want to be able to, like I said, put this toolbox, which weighs about 40 pounds, on top of one of those, which is why I went with square fenders. Just another space that you could use in a tiny camper world. So yeah, I got the trailer pretty level. I mean, that's good enough. The bubble's kind of in the middle there. And I'm just going to mock it up with some spacers under there and see where I want it, mark my marks, and then zip on the self-tappers. And the bearing, update bearing is, I just cranked them down till they wouldn't move. I backed them off till they were super loose, but there was no play. But as soon as I bolted on the wheel, there would be a little play up and down with the wheel, in at the top, out at the bottom. So I went to the next notch on the castle nut, which tightened the bearings. When there was no tire, it would spin, but it would kind of stop after a couple rotations. But then when I put the tire on, it would spin free, and there was absolutely no play. So I went with a little bit tighter versus a little bit looser, which is what I'm being told by guys is the right thing to do, because they're going to break in even more. And I made sure they were full of grease. So I think I finally got that solved. Enough talking. Here we go. Okay, so what I want to do here is I'm going to use these clamps to fix this in the place I want it, and then I can jack it up, take the tire off, and make sure that the fender doesn't shift, and then I can self-tap it to the frame. So that's what we're going to do right now.
You came through. Can you come out?
Look at that. Alright, so I just took that bolt out that's holding part of the suspension components in, drilled a hole in the fender, and just ran it through the fender, completing all that, and making sure the fender fits flat up against the frame there. So, and then I used this level compared to that level, and then the gaps between these two bolts to kind of get that fender perfectly straight. I know the altitude above the tire, it's set exactly where I want it. So these clamps are still holding it, plus that bolt's holding it, and now I have to decide very carefully where I want to do some self-tappers in here to just kind of get that fender fixed in place. And this one's done. There she is.
It's almost full, Dad.
Yeah, you're right. So I just rattle canned her for now, and let my son paint these bolts back here. So it's first time ever spray painting. So it's on here pretty solid. I wouldn't feel good about my 200-pound body up here, but I could set the toolbox up here and stuff, and so I may not weld the thing across. I don't know. It's on here solid. I ended up using 3 bolts that were already there in the frame and just bolting the fender on, and then I zipped in some self-tappers there. So we'll put the wheel on, see how she looks. Alright people, it's 6 o'clock Saturday night. There's the fender, first one. There's the second one. Looking good. Tomorrow I'm going to brainstorm this area here. Something's got to happen here. Water, tools, spare tires, something. We need more weight on the front. That's it for tonight, and we'll get back at it tomorrow. Thanks for watching.